Here's what should happen if you were an American citizen that cared about your country and cared about the integrity of your media apparatus, okay? What you would do is you would come forward and you would give a full breakdown on everything that happened from start to finish so that other content creators could understand how people could fall for these traps, so that other people in your field could avoid these in the future, so that you know what to look for, so that your fans don't lose trust in you, because now they should all be looking at you going like, hey bro, you said you're an investigative journalist. How are you taking $5 million a year from Russia without even raising your eyebrows? And you should just do it for general like faith and confidence in your industry. Yeah, it's really, really, really bad. Every single thing.
That is a malicious lie.
Yes. Yes. All of it is lies, 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 super duper ultra lies.
They should give all the money back, right? Say it.
I think it would depend on
unless your name is Lauren Southern.
Or Lauren Chen. I feel like it would depend on the likelihood that you knew it was wrong versus also like the percentage of time that you committed. Although that second thing seems rather unsatisfying.
Mm-hmm. But they received money directly from Russian state sources and RT.
Sure.
I feel like you should give that money back.
Here's the challenge.
When I say give it back, I mean give it to United States or some Ukrainian charity.
Let's say that we were to find out, let's say tomorrow we find out that Kick is like funded through Russia. Do you think everybody that does like content on Kick should give all the money that they made on Kick back to whoever it comes from?
That's a good point. Let me think about that.
And then if not, why does it feel different?
It feels different for some of the creators, and you'll help me out here.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I feel that at least Dave Rubin and Tim Pool are some of the worst actors in this whole thing.
Why?
Because they were put on notice that this guy, Edward Gregorian, that he has no profile to speak of. They were then sent the fakest document looking of all time. And so I think that there's a willful blindness thing going on here. They're getting paid insane amounts. Mm-hmm. And they are put on notice that, hey, something is sketchy. I'm not even going to move on unless you send me something to show that this is a real person. And they get sent that Edward Gregorian looking ass document. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that like scream of a guilty conscience? And publicly that Lauren Chen is, at least for a year and a half, has been affiliated with RT publicly.
Yeah. So leaving, I don't ever want to hear you argue this on my stream or when I'm listening. So if you do, I'm going to turn it off or scream you, okay? So leaving the bad faith world of conservative. I've gotten so much less tolerant for this, right? You and I can both agree, obviously, because neither of us are absolutely retarded and deserving of being thrown into the ocean, okay? Mm-hmm. That the amount of money that you receive for something can be indicative of some kind of like malicious intent, right? That if I were to give you a box and I were to say, hey, I've got like a friend downtown, can you like drop this off and kind of make it a secret? And I give you like $20, you'd probably feel a lot differently if I gave you that same box. I was like, hey, please like make sure nobody sees you with this. And I offer you like $5,000, right? Like immediately, this is like materially a different type of ask.
And I don't tell you what's in the box.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. Right.
Or I tell you something obviously fake.
Sure. Or even if I don't say anything. Yeah. But you know, based on the money that I'm offering you that something is happening here. Right.
Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons why I keep saying this over and over again. Tim, Dave, and Benny Johnson are the three that keep getting mentioned, and this is receiving the most money, but especially Tim and Dave because their explicit amounts are called out. These guys absolutely should have known. As for the other three, Lauren Southern, Matt Christensen, and Taylor Hansen, I don't know how much money they were getting, but I mean, it's possible that they could have known, but I don't know. I don't know the dollar amounts that were offered, but I know, especially Dave Rubin, and yes, Tim Pool, these guys were getting so much money, it should have been sending off a whole bunch of red flags, obviously. Yeah. Got
it. So we're defending those other three figures.
I wouldn't say I'm not defending them. I'm agnostic unless I know. Like, let's say, for instance, because it's obviously Scott's favorite example. Let's say Lauren Southern's contract gets leaked, and what we find out is that Lauren is supposed to make a tweet, like every week, one tweet a week supporting the company, and they're offering her $10,000 a month for it. Then obviously she should have known, right? 1 trillion%.
All right.
Or for the Taylor guy, let's say that his videos get 50 views each and he has like
He
nobody.
got banned, didn't he?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I don't know why though.
Why did he? That's like messing with me. I don't know. What are these moves being taken?
Yeah, we have no
going
idea.
It's pretty cray. Well, but at least Tim Pool and Dave Rubin, if you just, I heard you, I think, say they have, so far as you know, the greatest culpability among the didn't know crowd.
Yeah.
Shouldn't they give the money back? Is it like imagine that you went and delivered a pipe bomb?
I don't think they should get the money back. I think it should be seized. I think it should be taken. I mean. The government shouldn't even have a chance to.
But like,
it came from a sanctioned country,
right?
Bro. A sanctioned country. Now, it didn't even come from an undeclared source. It came from a sanctioned source, right?
But now, Deal, can you help me out with your kick example?
Yeah, like let's say that we find out like Kick gets paid by like the Russians or whatever. Like, do you think everybody that takes a Kick deal should have to give their...
I'm asking you to help me distinguish that because I thought that was a good hypothetical. I don't have an immediate answer other than like...
well, yeah, so the two things that I would say is like, what type of work are you putting in for something? And then what type of... and then like, what is the due diligence expected or what should you have expected, right? So if a company comes up to you and they're offering you a really big amount of money, there needs to be a few things in your mind where you're trying to wonder like, okay, well, where the fuck is this coming from? I know my market rates, something is like off here, right? So in my mind for Kick, it seems pretty obvious to me that one, it's a startup with a heavy initial investment from the Australian billionaire guy, and two, they generate a ton of money via gambling. So in my mind, that's where those two sources of income come from. I think that's a pretty fair assumption.
You have answers for that, right?
Well, I have guesses that I think are fair guesses. I don't think nobody in the industry is. Yeah, I don't think anybody in the industry actually, I don't even have to guess because XQC is the largest contract offered on the platform, and his is public, right? People know he was offered with incentives up to $100 million for a year or two. So people already know the type of money that's flying around. So that's even in the open, right? And the fact that it's funded by an Australian dude is in the open, and the fact that Stake is an owner or whatever and does gambling, all of that is public and in the open. Everybody knows that, right?
Oh, I like that distinguishing. That's super helpful. So the source of the money is publicly known. The nature of the content being offered and what the incentive structure is more publicly known. Okay, because at first I was struggling because it seemed like there was a similar fact pattern of Train kind of being the guy you trust, right? Who kind of brings you on board. It kind of seems like a Lauren Chen like situation, but
maybe yeah. But I would never. Yeah. I love Train, but I would never take just his word for it, right? So I think one is you've got the fact that all the information is very public. Two, and this is something I'm incredibly sensitive to, and everybody else in my industry I know is, and they should be. Also, wait, can you turn your mic up a little bit?
Yeah, what's that? Can you hear me better?
Yeah, okay. The second thing is the type of content that you're being contracted for. Kick never, ever, ever asked me anything politically, ever. It's not even part of any conversation we've ever had. It's a streaming platform. If a political platform came and started and wanted to contract my stuff or, wanted to offer me money for stuff, there's going to be way, 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 way more questions now that I'm going to be asking. Because...
So it's like Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, because one, well, now I'm getting paid for political opinions, and two, because the most important thing for me personally is my reputation. If it comes out that like I'm getting funded by these, I might even just publicly say it to my audience. Why would I not? Because like I'm taking a deal now from people that do politics to talk on things. Like I don't want this to get leaked that I'm taking money from some political actor. Like my entire credibility is going to come under fire there because now you don't know if I've been saying things to stand on somebody's good side. So I'm probably going to want to disclose publicly myself just for my own reputation's sake in case stuff gets leaked. There's going to be way more questions that I'll have there. So Lauren Chen's company falls under that. Yeah, number one. And then number two, the deal that's being crafted is so huge, outlandish compared to what else you'd be offered. All of these things come together. It's a political actor. One, there's no public disclosure. Two, you don't know where the money's really coming from. Three, four, you're being contracted for political content. And then five, I don't know if this is my number one, but if not, five is you're being offered an outlandish amount of money. Like there's so many things here where a good faith actor is going to want answers to this because there's a lot of potential harm that you could suffer, right?
Got it. So if you, let's say we found out that Kick was funded by an Israeli entity. And then people are like, well, how did he not know? Steven got a pretty sizable chunk of money from Kick. Kick is this, and let's say there's internal comms between Train or someone else. I don't know anyone else at the company.
Yeah.
Train, let's say, has a bigger role, and these like Israeli Mossad agent or something. can you map that onto like, okay, how do you go and defend yourself on stream the next day?
Yeah, easily. One is I'm posting my contract with Kick. Two is I'm posting every conversation that me and Eddie have ever had. And then three, I'm posting any other communications between me and that company because I'm not going to have any. Oh, and then four, I'm probably posting every receipt for every single dollar that I spent when I was in Israel. Like, yeah, there's no way that I'm going to leave that open to, oh, well, maybe I was compromised, guys, LOL, and then not say anything about that. Absolutely not. If I think I'm in the right. Now, if I think I was doing some shady shit, I might just release one statement on Twitter, maybe do a couple of softball interviews with other people that are politically aligned with me, and then not mention it anymore going forward and pretend nothing ever happened. But
you wouldn't give the money back, though, if you thought you were in the right.
For giving the money back, so this was the second thing that I brought up.
Yeah.
One thing that I wonder is how much work somebody put in. So this feels really subjective, and then I guess you can help me here. I don't know. I wonder if there's like a standard for this in criminal court. So I'm thinking on this channel, I'm thinking of Lauren Southern's content, and then I'm thinking of Tim Pool's content. So it looks like for Tim Pool, they broadcast this show. It was a non-exclusive license. It was on their channel anyway. Like this was
like a fan channel.
Yeah, and this was just like bonus money that he was collecting. There was no opportunity cost for Tim to do this show on that platform. They weren't losing out on anything.
Have you seen The Wire?
Yes.
Obviously. You know Clay Davis?
Yeah.
I'll take anyone's money if he's just giving it away. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But when I was looking at Lauren's stuff, and I could be wrong, maybe this was cut from her main channel, I didn't notice. I don't think she publishes as much on her main channel, but it looked like Lauren was doing a lot of specialty content for the channel. And it might have been true of those other smaller content creators as well. If that's true, taking that money feels a lot worse. Like, let's say that Matt or Taylor.
A lot better for Lauren, you mean?
What do you mean?
Because Lauren is. Oh, sorry. Is it better for Tim or better for Lauren? If Lauren is making specifically curated content for Tenet, I could see how it could cut both ways. On the one hand, it seems like there's more potential for editorial influence. But on the other hand, there seems to be a more reasonable expectation that, hey, I'm doing something for which I'm getting paid, and that payment is much less than what Tim Pool's getting for just this licensing thing.
Oh, kind of. Actually, I'm on a totally different track here. Yeah, if this is like a two-prong, okay, we'll call this the Loron test, okay? This would be like a two-pronger. The first one is like if you've passed or exceeded any reasonable threshold for knowing that the money is like illegitimate, then you at that point. It really doesn't matter, okay? But let's say that you survive.
There's a total incredibleness of the money, which is just going to override everything. If it's so beyond the pale.
If it's so beyond the pale, yeah.
Okay.
Number one, but then number two, the second part would be. Then, like, let's say you really didn't know reasonably. Number two is I'd be wondering, like, how much did you sacrifice to make content for them? So, like, that's what I'm saying for Tim Pool's show. It doesn't look like they really sacrificed anything at all. They still broadcast it. They could publish it on their own channel. They could do whatever they want. But if those other three content creators, the three smaller ones, if all of them were putting in, like, hours and hours and hours into making content for this channel, and then afterwards you're like, okay, well, this was a bad channel, and even though you guys didn't know, now you have to lose anything, they're getting severely because they could have been doing other work, you know?
So in the calculus about whether or not
they should give it back,
you would consider whether or not they made like a genuine effort at some legitimate enterprise or like some kind of legitimate effort that we would respect. Unless, but if they knew, that would all go away if they actually knew it was. Yeah,
that's why I said it's like a two-prong. Like if they fail either, if they fail the first one, then fuck them. But like imagine you've got like some like imagine there's let's imagine there's like a single mom. She's got two kids. Okay, she lives in the hood. Some guy's like run drugs for us, and she's like, okay, I'll do it. Makes a lot of money, feeds her kids, and then you find out, okay, well you knew you were running drugs. Like I'm sorry, you're right. But let's say there's let's say you take that same lady and she's working for a drug enterprise's like front company, but she doesn't know, but she is working full time for them. But she doesn't really know, and reasonably she wouldn't know. And then you bust the drug company. Like, would you make her give all the money back? Do you think there's anything meaningfully different here or no? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I know, I get what you're saying. I think we would want people who are less culpable and who were like you in the Israel case, I guess, even though because you're putting in time, right? You're limiting your exposure on YouTube.
Exactly. Opportunity cost there, yeah. To like work on another platform. And if you didn't know, oof, that's, yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Is there a world in which it's so bad, it's so obviously an Israel op, it's such in bad faith that maybe just you give it anyway, even though it's just out of principle? Or is it harder to see? Or maybe we need another example.
Out of principle. I don't know. I don't know I don't even know what the principle would be, I guess.
They're like, I don't even want people to reasonably think that my opinions
Like,
at all
here-
were influenced.
Oh yeah. Well, oh no, that wouldn't be. But that wouldn't be out of principle. That'd be out of pragmatism, right? Like, oh,
Okay.
like I might,
Okay.
like I might give it back out of pragmatism, but it wouldn't be out of. It'd be like, oh well, fuck. I don't want anybody to think it was weird. Here's $1 million to Gaza or some bullshit, right?
Got it.
There is a the issue that I have with this. Okay, and you can maybe I'm thinking too into this, and it's actually just bad on his face. The reason why I don't like the idea of them accepting money isn't necessarily because they're getting money from Russia. It's that if I think that there's a reasonable expectation that they should have known, then what I think is they're probably creating their content with that in mind. That's the issue. So is it really a mistake that Tim Pool lands a $500,000 a year gig, sweet gig, that he knows is probably coming from Russia, and now his takes on his channel are insanely anti-Ukraine? Like, let's say that a report comes out and it shows, oh, in Zapista or Bucha or whatever the fuck, Mariupol, like 5 million Russians raped, 10 million Ukrainian children. Is he looking at that story on his desk and he's thinking, I could cover this, but oh man, I don't know. Maybe we just shouldn't talk about this today, right? That's the problem I have,
Got it. Okay, that makes much more sense. And
Sorry, $500,000 a month, not a year. Go ahead.
yeah, $500,000 a month, right? Yeah, it was like 100,000 a week, right?
It was 100,000
insane.
a week for one episode, yeah. So 400,000 a month.
And his whole thing is, I was going to do the episode anyway, and the episode, like, nothing changed about anything I was
Exactly.
doing, the nature of what I was doing. I was just taking free money essentially,
Yeah.
and I'm the victim.
Yeah.
Okay, but I guess what I'm struggling with is, so you have in the indictment Lauren Chen saying this amount of money that we're paying them is not enough to sustain any kind of platform. Like, we're gonna lose a shit ton of money and we'll never break even. Lauren Chen is saying that.
Yeah.
I have to think that if Lauren Chen is thinking that, Dave Rubin and Tim Pool are also thinking that, and they must know that this cannot be a profitable enterprise.
While that is true, I'm going to walk on a very, very, very short branch here and just explain this marketing idea that you're going to understand immediately. If you don't already understand it, you probably do, okay? But this isn't to excuse their behavior, but you do expect as a large content creator that people's initial platform investments are going to be done at a loss, right? Kick didn't make money on my deal. Absolutely not. And Kick didn't make money, probably doesn't even make money on their current deals, right? Fuck, Twitch is still leading, or is still losing money on all of their deals. So you would expect there to be a loss. You wouldn't necessarily expect them to be, revenue positive, to be making a profit, but not that much, not at that insane of a level. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's helpful for me to. So what are you going to be calling on Tim Pool and Dave Rubin to do? More transparency?
I think it would be very interesting to see their contracts. If for no other reason, to see, hey guys, here's some things to keep in mind. And I don't want to answer your question. I hate you. I want to kill you.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. Here's what should happen if you were an American citizen that cared about your country and cared about the integrity of your media apparatus, okay? What you would do is you would come forward and you would give a full breakdown on everything that happened from start to finish so that other content creators could understand how people could fall for these traps, so that other people in your field could avoid these in the future, so that you know what to look for, so that your fans don't lose trust in you, because now they should all be looking at you going like, hey bro, you said you're an investigative journalist. How are you taking $5 million a year from Russia without even raising your eyebrows? And you should just do it for general faith and confidence in your industry, right? Because something, again, this is going to just kind of come and go over these people's shoulders because they're conservatives and they have absolutely no standards of human decency or behavior. But imagine if you, me, Josiah, and Lonerbox were all getting paid by some company and it turns out that it was Israeli funded. Right? Would anybody in that sphere ever take me? It would be over. Even if I could prove that I didn't know anything about it, it would be over for me, right? They'd be spamming this under every single post until the end of time. People already say that I'm paid by the Mossad, right? So that would be, if they were good faith actors, there would be an incredible amount of transparency that they would be coming out around all of this. Not even for themselves, but just to help the industry. How do we help people avoid this type of stuff in the future? This is really, really, really bad.
When you're on Piers Morgan and one of these clowns is on there, you said that's the first thing you're going to bring up?
Yeah, I hope so. I'm on Monday. I don't know who's on with me.
What are you saying? What did you know? When did you know it?
Why haven't you released anything?
Yeah.
And then the answer is going to be, and I hope I remember to follow through this. I'm going to say, why haven't you released anything? Are you going to? They're going to say, well, there's an ongoing FBI investigation. I'm not sure. I'm like, okay, well, you commit today, right now, that once it's over, that you will release everything you have relating to this, so that we can see. Yeah, and then it's going to be. They might say yes to it and just never do it in the future. But
yeah. Oof. I hate these people so much.
Yeah, it's really, really, really bad. Every single thing. Going over this J6 stuff, going over the other court shit, going over... Bro, everything... Do you remember the whole ordeal with, like, Jeff Sessions?
Yeah.
All of it is so crazy. Every single part of it is insane. The, like, Sessions won't influence this investigation, and this motherfucker recused him. Oh, by the way, there are so many... Here's something that I'm really worried about, that I'm, like, mindful of. Because if you go back, like, 5 or 6 or 7 years... Wait... Are we 2024? Sorry. If you go back like 8, 9, 10 years ago, I also like hated conservatives. I don't know if it's the same type of hatred, but I also hated them. Could I have ever seen a difference back then? I wish I could go back and ask myself back then, like, hey, do you think that people that like George Bush like their country? Like, do you think these are patriotic Americans? I wonder if I would say like, no, because they hate BLM or they hate gay people. I don't think they like America. I wonder what I would say. Because when you've got scumbags, because they are scumbags, people like Jeff Sessions and people like Bill Barr, who these guys wouldn't even go near the Trump shit. Like, what does that say about Trump, you know?
I agree. And I think that people are missing a key point here, which is I don't even think it's appropriate for the president to have been involved in this voter fraud conversations at all.
No.
Right? Like, even the fact that the attorney general is reporting to the president about the state of investigations regarding an investigation into an election in which he is a candidate, where he stands to gain. I even think that is like arguably, and no one talks about that. Everybody,
because it also requires a whole bunch of, like, now that I have such a better structure in mind of like civil or civics, just like the structure of the government, like the phone call with Raffensperger, period, was bad.
Smoking gun.
That phone call should have never been made. Nothing even going beyond what was said. That's just a phone call that should never be made. And then also, I didn't realize in the past how egregious it is and how presumptive it is when Trump's personal lawyers, not White House lawyers, personal lawyers, are saying things to jury like, well, if you guys would make the data available to us. Like, imagine me calling like a Secretary of State and saying like, you guys haven't made all of your data available to us. Like, how can we know if there was voter fraud? Like, why the fuck would they ever do that? Like, yeah, all of it is so egregious.
I wish... I'm going to make a Twitter space at some point, whether it's today or some other day. I think it would be a lot of fun for you and I to invite the people to give their strongest claims of election fraud in the 2020 election. It's actually insane how often you just hear about the black boxes, the black suitcases, and it just grounds down to that. That was such effective propaganda.
Yep. Do you know that came out December 3rd? Do you know when that was debunked?
I assume very quickly. I know that
it was either there was a story that went out on December 3rd, the day of, and then the next day in the morning, there were like 5 stories out with the Secretary of State and the COO coming out. Sperling, I think. Right, I have to go back and look up his name. But yeah, that was debunked the next day. That narrative carried through all, and Trump is still repeating it on January 6th, by the way.
Makes me sick.
Also, if you look at another thing too, God, I wish I could double the hours in the day. There are so many videos where if you watch these guys and their testimony, it's insane. So that black box, do you know, I think her name was Jackie Deacon? Jackie Pick Deacon? Have you heard this name before?
No.
She was one of the attorneys that was doing the presentation to the Georgia committee. That was the first one that showed the tape, that showed the black box stuff. As this piece of shit, Jackie Deason, as she's presenting the tape, okay, you can watch. It's a 6-hour video.
Well,
nobody fucking watches this shit. Like, you can watch her on the tape saying, they go all the way up to like 9:59 p.m. You can see the ballot boxes sitting on the table, and then she tells them to fast forward it by 25 minutes, and then she tells them to fast forward it by another 10 minutes, and she's like, and now look, now they're going to pull ballot boxes out. And she even says, we checked this whole video. We have no clue where the ballot boxes came from. We have no idea where they came from. It was right in the 30 minutes that you skipped.
And like, she purposely omitted that part. That is a malicious lie.
Yes.
That is malicious.
All of it is lies, super duper ultra lies. And it's obvious because the next day, that night, they were debunked because the guy just goes to the video. He's like, oh, look, here they are. There are the boxes. They're being put under the table. And then they were brought back out. And she's pretending like we have no idea where these came from, right? You saw, did you?
She's on X. I'm going to add her, and I'm going to follow her now.
Who? Oh, the Jeffrey Clark guy blocked me. Oh,
he blocked me too.
yeah. You know what? Did you know that he was the acting attorney general for 2 hours?
Yes.
Yes. It was in his hearing.
The call logs and into it.
It was in the call logs, yes, and it was also in his disciplinary hearing. Some guy linked me the 6-hour hearing. It was like 250 views. Okay, I don't know why. I love my fans. In the hearing, Jeffrey Clark's person that's representing him in front of this disciplinary hearing, he says that Jeffrey Clark was never the acting attorney general. And then an hour later, he corrects himself. And he says, I just want to correct the record. I'm sorry. There was a brief period of time where he was the acting attorney general. So Trump had actually promoted him until that meeting that night where half the DOJ threatened to quit.
If we don't have criminal laws that would put him away for the rest of his life for doing what he did, then we have a humongous hole.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry, what is the argument for every single part of the executive branch not having criminal immunity?
I don't think there's a good one.
Why would it not flow down? Like, at the very least, like, your VP and your cabinet should have criminal immunity, right?
I don't think there's a good one because your entire argument is kind of structured in this
vigor,
policy incentive, vigor, whatever you want to say. And if that's your entire policy argument, and if you believe that the president is a unitary branch unto himself, which is the assumption of this entire opinion, which is the president is the only person who's an entire branch, then everyone who exercises the executive authority is merely exercising
authority on your behalf.
Which only exists by virtue of the president. And so how can they exercise that power with less immunity than what the president receives? It would be totally...
Because let's say the president has to make a decision about how to like prosecute something or how to do any part of his job, right?
He only operates through agents.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. If his agents don't have the same vigor and power as he does, maybe his agents will be paralyzed in fear. It's actually an insane decision, and it can't go away unless we get a constitutional amendment, right? Because it's a Supreme Court decision, so it can't be. No law can get rid of it.
Justices and based justices. I totally agree. Like, think about this. Imagine that Congress passed a law that said it shall be illegal for any person in the executive branch to facilitate a presidential pardon which is done for X reason, right? Then you're not criminalizing what the president's doing. You're just criminalizing, and you say, well, it's still a valid pardon, it's still this or that, but everyone who tries to facilitate that pardon, put it into being, publish it, or take it at all, that is a crime. Do you really think that this court would say, oh no, that's kosher? Congress can do that. No, but obviously the president, when he acts, or when they act, future female president Kamala Harris, when they act, they do so oftentimes through agents and through people underneath them. So I actually don't understand why the lower executive officials don't have executive immunity. I was so pissed. You know what? I'm calling them out.
Lactoid?
Wick.
Oh.
No. Wick.tv.
Oh, no.
The original lobbyist. He stopped us from pushing that guy, Ryan. Remember? We were like going down a train on whether or not the SEAL Team 6 hypo's fault will carry through. And he just cucked us. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
What's he doing?
Good question.
Why?
Probably taking money from the Trump campaign. No, sorry.
I honestly can't. When he was like, yeah, they could pack the court with 10,000 Supreme Court justices, and I wouldn't be in favor of doing it back. What's going on with these people? Tell me. You were one of them.
Yeah, I think it just depends on if you think the court right now is legitimately comprised.
Comprised?
Yeah, right? Or would it be composed? Wouldn't it be comprised because it's comprised of the justices? Or am I wrong?
You mean compromised or you mean comprised?
No, legitimately comprised.
Oh, I'm the bad person. Okay, yeah, I understand. Legitimately comprised.
Yeah, if it was, then, just to be clear, I'm still anti-court packing, motherfucker. The only reason I'm pro-court packing right now is because I think the court has already been severely compromised.
Yeah. But that's me too. I don't think that this should be like our steady state. And if there were a kind of amendment process to set things right, or to structure it in a way that it's truly, quote unquote, fair, then I would be in favor of that over any kind of legislative decision. But that's been my position for years. You know, one of our first conversations was about the Supreme Court.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's one of the first times you're like, I like this Pisco guy.
Cringe.
That was like 4 years ago.
Wow, that's a long time. The
Can you believe? Yeah, good.
Oh, I was just gonna say I hate the that Lactord guy.
You hate him?
I get so triggered whenever I hear conservatives talk about like originalism in the text.
Well, he bit the bullet. I actually like Lactord because he bit the bullet. He's like, yeah, I think Brown v. Board has a lot of problems.
That is true. I'm glad he said that. Yeah, I short circuited out because I didn't expect him to. I was like, oh shit, I actually didn't expect him to do that. I was like, oh no. It was like when I was debating that abortion lady, and I was like, if you replace somebody's head, would it be the same person? She's like, yes. And I was like, oh wait, me. Oh shit. Yeah, no, yeah, I didn't expect he would bite the bullet on that. Yeah, Jesus.
Wild. But because Brown v. Board is considered like untouchable precedent. But
Dred Scott is considered one of the worst ruling of all time, isn't it? I'm making that up. Okay.
But and someone correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that the civil procedure holding of Dred Scott is still operable. It's still good law, and that is the following: in order to be a citizen of the United States of America, in order to be a citizen of a state in the United States of America, you must be a citizen of the United States of America. So this was the big kerfuffle. They wanted to sue a slave owner in federal court, but the federal jurisdiction, if you go to Article 3, only extends jurisdiction in certain cases, right? In like involving ambassadors, that kind of thing, or federal law. But among people of citizens of different states, there's what's known as diversity jurisdiction for federal courts. And so Dred Scott says, I want to sue the former slave owner. I want to sue the someone in federal court, and I'm a citizen of a different state. And one of the holdings of the court in Dred Scott was, you're not a citizen of the United States. Sorry, you're not a citizen of a state because you're not a citizen of the United States because you're black.
Damn.
That's pretty harsh. But yeah, that's still good law. In order to be a citizen of a state for purposes of diversity, you need to be a citizen of the United States. And if you want to be use the alienage jurisdiction of the federal courts, you have to be a non-citizen. There's someone in disagreements.
Yeah.
We need to start a weekly crap on conservative spaces.
True.
It would be fun.
Yeah, that platform is spooky to me though, man.
Because they will say like the N-word?
No, because I don't know how much of it is real and the people that I'm talking to. And now I'm even more mind fucked.
You think that everyone's Russian? It's everywhere though.
Well, like when I said it before, I'm going to be honest, because people keep giving me credit like I'm some like truth sayer or some like predictor or whatever. Okay, listen, not to undermine, my own massive brain. I didn't actually think.
But you were predicting it. There's so many clips of you saying you're getting paid by Russia.
Yeah, but I didn't actually think it was like, holy shit, bro.
Didn't?
That's what? No, what the fuck? That's crazy. It wouldn't have surprised me if there are some people, there are foreigners, and I know there are offers made to some people. So like that Ian Miles Chung motherfucker, 1,000,000,000%, okay? People like this, yeah. But like that type of reach, that's really fucking spooky, my dude. You understand how scary that is? How weird that is?
Ian Miles Chong emote in your community? Based. Why do you have this?
I have no idea. Ultra handsome man based. That's really... You understand how weird and scary and spooky that is?
It's really spooky. What do you think about Elon? You think he's compromised?
I don't know. I don't know. I have no clue. That's weird. Elon's treatment of X has probably been some of the largest amounts of damage that have been done to the media environment in recent U.S. history has been done probably by Elon Musk himself because he's triggered. I'm hoping it's because he's triggered, not because he's like foreign compromised.
God.
I'm actually really surprised. It's so crazy, man. You want to talk about the government is too restrictive. I wonder if any other country in the world would allow that to happen. Do you think that France or Britain, and before this has happened, well, I guess we have all the largest social media platforms. Do you think a country would allow one of their largest social media platforms to be purchased by a foreign national and made private? Like
maybe not, but we're based.
That's wild, bro. That's insane.
But is it
I don't know if there's a single country on the planet that will let that happen. That's crazy.
So we need to enforce these laws. Wait, I'm curious. Can you bring in the Arden Pit guy? I want to see if he disagrees with us.
Sometimes these guys just hang out here for a long time to see if they got dragged in. Arden, are you even awake?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Hi, what's up? What do you want?
Okay, so nothing to do with your guys' conversation. I was going back to a point from a while ago, actually.
Okay.
Okay, so you had said that this was the first fake electors plot in U.S. history. That's actually...
Are you going to bring it the Ulysses S. Grant stuff, or...?
No, I am actually going to bring up the one from Joseph McCarthy.
Oh, which was the one from Joseph McCarthy?
So during the 1956 Republican primary, Joseph McCarthy tried to form a fake electors plot to basically kick Eisenhower out of the nomination for the Republican
Are
Party.
they delegates or electors?
Delegates, but
So you agree
worked
it's
the
not a fake elector
same.
plot? Do you agree it's not a fake elector plot?
Wait, hear me out. Because the plan went... We can go on for a second, Pisco, but originally it was a fake delegate plot. But then they lost at the primaries, and the people who were in charge of it tried to make it into a fake elector plot.
You owned me. Okay, so what happened? They tried?
So they did try it. They actually took to the floor at the convention, and they tried to basically... at the Republican Party convention in, I think it was the Cow Palace was the name of the building.
Wait, you said it was electors, right? Am I missing something?
My guess is where we're going with this, and you can link me this. My guess is that you're talking about somebody tried to do some kind of like faithless electors thing, or...
Basically, so the way that the Republican Party primary at the time worked was everyone was supposed to vote with their state's votes, but technically everyone was faithless electors.
Does any of this involve presidential electors?
That's kind of what I'm trying to say. They tried this at the election or at the primary.
The primary.
Real quick, just to be really, really, really clear, okay? And again, this is like a civics thing, and I understand for some people these seem really similar, but let me just be very clear, okay? Pisco can correct me wrong. If at the RNC or at the DNC, let's say that we get to the DNC and behind the scene, Pelosi and Hillary Clinton came together, and when Kamala Harris takes the stage, they rush on and they say, actually, we have moved every single delegate over to Hillary Clinton. She's going to be the president. Get the fuck out. Okay. And then they kick Kamala Harris off stage. And then they also say, we fired every single delegate. It's just us two deciding, me and Pelosi, Hillary and Pelosi. We decided I'm going to run now. Fuck Kamala. And then they do that to the presidency. I don't think they've committed any crimes.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
My thing is that McCarthy and his people tried this on for the party primary.
Sure, I'm just saying that when you're talking about the party primary and the delegates and anything relating to a delegate, that's different than electors.
Different,
yeah, electors are like, these are constitutionally like carved out processes for our state votes for a candidate.
I don't disagree with you. What I'm telling you is that these people then tried to rally up faithless or a entire thing of fake electors in the states to have McCarthy run as a third-party candidate, where they were going to do fake electors to actually push him and basically get rid of the electors for the actual legitimate parties.
Wait. He was going to run as a third party, and he was going to use fake electors. I don't understand. Can you explain that part more? That's very interesting to me, and I don't know about that.
Okay, so I'm going to send you an article. Rachel Maddow just recently did an entire podcast series on this called Ultra.
Oh.
So this was her season 2. The entire, I think it was the 8th episode, went into detail on this. So a group of people, I think it was H.L. Hunt, who was at the time the richest man in America, and a group of former senators and congressmen basically started trying to push this as McCarthy going into it. Is there a chat or
Wait, is there a thing?
where
Can
should I
you just
post
like
this?
Google a thing that we would look up? Cause I'm not listening to like a 5-hour podcast by fucking Matt Ow.
Yeah, transcript or the transcript of Mystery Man
Of
Ultra Season
Mystery
2.
Man Ultra Season 2. That sounds like a Godzilla. Oh, okay. Is this MSNBC
Yeah, that
link?
should be it. If that's the one you're pulled up on screen or on stream. So you could look at it. There are actually radio broadcasts that they went through trying to do this. They were talking about it in where is it? If you look up electors,
Yeah. There's 5 matches, right?
Yeah, you can actually get to where they talk about it.
Can I read it? So, in the lead up to the 1956 presidential election, a group described as nationalists, including former Congressman blah, 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 they all plotted the next step up for Joe McCarthy. The Congressman Fish emerged from that meeting to tell the press that McCarthy would achieve the presidency in 56, even if he had to do it with an independent or third-party bid. By that time, McCormick's group For America had been promoting a wild election gambit to qualify their own electors in multiple states to try to insert chaos into the count of the Electoral College. Clarence Manion, radio commentator, says, "We can get our wish by qualifying a state of American presidential elector candidates in our respective states. In a number of states, patriots are already far advanced on their necessary prerequisites. To win the presidency without becoming the nominee of either party, you need a gambit like that because, of course, under normal electoral processes, it's all but impossible for any third-party candidate to win, whether it would be McCarthy or an anti-income tax candidate they also liked." I don't understand. Are they proposing...
It sounds like this is what's the goal or the idea they wanted to do it. They just didn't get very far with it. But it sounds like they were considering something similar.
They were considering sending fake electors.
Well, not like McCarthy just on his own was trying to get some wacky people
literally
together.
To send them to Congress from their own groups, not even as a part of the official process. They were just going to make fake electors. And as a note, this happened after McCarthy's censure. And if you ever look into that, that is an absolutely wild show. But McCarthy's censure, they literally had armed men in armored trucks show up to start trying to intimidate congressmen on the stairs of the Senate that day, or on the stairs of the Capitol that day.
Who's they try to do this?
McCarthy's followers
tried to go to Congress on
they
January.
Went with a bunch of armored bank trucks that they basically pulled right up to the steps of the Capitol. And so the guards at the Capitol came out and a bunch of armed men start filing out. But then they start unloading boxes, and they were all filled with complaints about the censure. But that was absolutely an attempt to intimidate the congressmen at the time who were voting on the censure that day.
This is voting on a censure, not voting on certifying the election?
This was voting on the censure of McCarthy. So McCarthy's entire career is this weird mirror to Trump, in which he had fake elector plots. He had literally armed men showing up at the Capitol when he was getting into political trouble. So
when you say the fake elector plots, I just want to make sure I understand. You're telling me that McCarthy had a plan to send directly to the Congress slates of electors that for him.
Yes.
Okay, and where is that shown?
Well, it doesn't look like they got very far with this plan. But they were considering. They didn't.
McCarthy started having all these liver failure problems right when this whole election was going down. And basically, McCarthy was in and out of the hospital, so the entire thing fell apart. But originally, they had a plan going into the 1956 election to either try and take over the Republican Party.
Don't talk about that at all. I don't care about that at all. I just only care about the fake election.
I know. I'm saying that originally it was to take over that, and then
I don't care about that. So why are you saying that again?
Because I'm going through the history.
But I only care about the part which is possibly analogous.
Yes. So they had a plan to send in fake electors. Okay. That only stopped happening because McCarthy got sent to the hospital, and basically the entire thing fell apart.
Where is the source for the hospital bit?
You can look into the history of. I mean, it's in the podcast, but you can actually.
I'll just listen to the entire podcast. I really appreciate you bringing that up. Just to be clear, and I don't know about Steven, I don't. The basis for me being upset about January 6th and the fake elector plot doesn't have to do with the notion that it's never happened in history. The notion that right. So I do not accept, by the way, that what was happening in Hawaii, even if I can absolutely distinguish what was happening in Hawaii in 1960, I don't accept that that was legal to do, or that it wasn't criminal to do, or it wasn't unconstitutional to do. I do not accept that. And even if you were to show that it's happened before in history, to me, that is not at all because at all times it seems like this is ballot stuffing, fake ballot stuffing, and letting illegals vote in our election. That is what this is, right? There's a set of people who are allowed to vote on the real presidential election. That's presidential electors who are duly authorized to do so. And any attempt to send in fake people, that is ballot stuffing with illegals. And so I'm not going to ever defend that, even if it happened one time or attempted to happen sometime in history. But I am going to look into this because it seems super.
I don't disagree. It's a fascinating little chapter of history. The other thing to point out here is that the lawyer for McCarthy during this entire thing was a guy named Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn was an early partner of both Roger Stone and was actually considered the political mentor of Donald Trump.
Wait.
So there's actually a connection here.
Roy Cohn, he was involved in this plot?
Roy Cohn was McCarthy's lawyer during this entire period.
Huh.
You know that Roger Stone is a crazy history in life, right?
Yeah, I was the guy who wrote the entire Roger Stone post on your subreddit a little bit ago and came on to try and tell you about Roger Stone a while back.
Mm-hmm. Fake elector and Joseph McCarthy. Why aren't there a lot of articles about the Joseph McCarthy thing?
There are all sorts of weird bits of history that just don't show up unless you actually read books. I'll suggest a book for you that actually goes into it a little bit. It's called Demagogue by Larry Ty.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, this was just a thing that it's basically been forgotten by history. It's there. I can actually send you newspaper articles on it.
Could you actually you can right click my name and send me a message, right?
Yeah, I'll send you pictures of it that come from.
Please send me things. I just sent you a message. But that's weird. I've never heard of that. Joseph McCarthy, fake.
So one of the problems with this is it's hard to pull up actual articles. A lot of the
stuff.
time.
Dump Eisenhower appears at convention.
I'm
electors at all.
I've been trying to find the radio program that Maddow is quoting in this because it's Clarence Manson. The guy was a prolific radio broadcaster in the 1950s, 1960s, but I've been having a really hard time tracking that one down, but it's probably at the Library of Congress. So
interesting. This is interesting. Please send me only things about the electors. I do not care about the delegate convention stuff. All right.
Okay, I'll try and see if I can track down more on that. But that was a thing that existed in history. So just so you know, it wasn't the only time.
That's helpful.
I also want to. Oh God, I hate these points because these. You need good faith interlocutors, and conservatives just aren't. Okay, and I think Pisco, I think you will agree with me, co-sign this, right? An insurrection isn't necessarily a big deal, right? We can imagine minor insurrections, right?
Oh, yeah. I'd agree with you on that.
Yeah. Pisco, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. The big deal about all the J6 stuff, it was bad, and even without Trump it would have been bad, but it's the fact that it was chair-led by the sitting president of the United States. That's the thing that elevates it to such a huge level. And I feel like people miss out on that sometimes. If Barack Obama had been watching, a BLM riot, and a particularized one too, burning down some city, and he was the guy that was supposed to send in the guard, and he's just watching it on TV, tweeting out this is what happens when you treat black people like this, right? That would rise to the level of what we're talking about. But I just don't think there's anything comparable. Yeah.
In terms of the sitting president doing something like that?
Yeah, I can think of. Or even any lawmakers, too. Another very frustrating thing, I think I called this out on Piers, because either Piers was doing it or another guy was doing it, where you'll point out like, hey, what about when Trump said this, or McCarthy said this, or Jim Jordan said this? And they'll be like, okay, yeah, but did you see like on Twitter when these feminists tweeted this? And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's always like on one end, you've got, hey, here are your leading Republican lawmakers and political figures. And then on the other end, it's like, okay, yeah, but did you see what the woke mob at the University of Pennsylvania did when they were protesting what this one lady said in the crowd? I was like, why the fuck do I care? Like, this is not on the same level.
Oh my, yeah, it's not on the same level at all. And there's a lot of hemming and hawing about what did Trump do? And how did Trump make it so that there was an insurrection? And I see people actually who will say the memes about peacefully go there and make their voices heard. You can 100% argue, and Stephen has, and I agree, that the statement and the speech at the ellipse was an incitement of insurrection. That is my position.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I actually think we're using the term insurrection both right and wrong at the same time. We're not talking about really the problem of an insurrection. We're talking about an insurrection that led into a coup.
Well, the insurrection itself was bad. Like the goal of, and I hate how much I was gaslit. I'm so happy I watched the old conservative footage because really nobody researched this better. Nobody did this better than InfoWars and Bannon's show. Because if you want the honesty of what was going on, you just watch them, and it's so obvious what's going on. Here come the Patriots. They're storming the Capitol. We're taking it back. We're going to stop the vote. We're not going to let them certify this election. Everybody knew. Everybody knew it was going on. There were court documents. I just got linked yesterday for the two people that showed up at the that were trying to. I think it was a husband and wife, and I think in their testimony they were literally saying like, "Yeah, we were trying to. We only went into the Senate chambers because we knew that's where they were certifying the vote, and we wanted it to stop. Like we didn't know they'd already left. Like everybody knew what was going on, 100%. It was the goal the whole time. It's what stopped the Steel Men, obviously, and conservatives have memory hold it out of existence somehow.
I think that I totally agree with everything you just said, Stephen, but I even think there's a more clear example of incitement to insurrection. I do agree with everything you said about the speech at the ellipse and what the plan was and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think that the even better example of incitement is at the 2 o'clock mark. They're around 2 o'clock when he makes that tweet of Mike Pence didn't have the courage.
Yeah.
Why? Because at that time, violence has already occurred.
And he knows about it.
The breach of the Capitol. Yeah, he already knows about it. The breach of the Capitol has already occurred. So it's not hypothetical anymore. It's not like, oh, how could I know people were going to be violent? At the moment he makes that statement, at I forget what exact time it is. It's 2:15 or 2 something like that. Mm-hmm. And we can actually pull it up at some point. But
I think it's 2:25.
When he makes that tweet,
yeah,
he absolutely is aware that the Capitol has been breached. He's absolutely aware that they're trying to get to Pence. He's absolutely aware that violence is being used and that they're in danger. And he still says the tweet at that time, right? He still makes a statement, and he knows, by the way, that they're listening to him. He knows. Mm-hmm. So at that tweet, when he says Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done, USA demands the truth. He says we're demanding the truth in solidarity with the people who have just breached the Capitol.
And this is
incitement.
It's not even worth explaining because this is so obvious. It is like so fucking obvious, like what's happening, right? Like a riot is literally raging on. They have to hang Mike Pence. Like they're all chanting outside the video. Everybody around the world is watching this, and then he makes his tweet. Like and then people are like, he's just saying that they wanted to give the states a chance to recertify their votes. Like it's so bad faith. Like nobody sincerely believes this.
And even if you didn't think you wanted specific violence, that's not what the definition of insurrection requires. It doesn't even actually require violence. It requires threat of force. So if your intention is to put someone in fear of bodily harm, and you want people to be intimidating, that is intimidating, not just generally intimidating as in put someone specifically in fear of physical harm. If we can show that as your intent, then we have the insurrection, then we have incitement. Mm-hmm. So always remember, Stephen, when you're arguing the question of the speech at the ellipse, it's not your burden, though you could maybe prove it, that what he wanted was actual violence. You need to show only that they were intending to put politicians in fear of physical harm. And that's a much lower standard for you to have to prove than he actually wanted violence. But that said, at 2:14, you have that tweet where violence has already occurred and where he's already explicitly speaking in solidarity with the people using violence. That has to be incitement. When you already know that violence is occurring, it's occurring at the moment, and you're egging it on, and you're saying this is a demand for the truth, then that's incitement. Easiest case in the entire world.
Yep, yeah. At 2:13, Pence had already been removed from the Senate chambers. At 2:14, that's when you get the videos of the rioters outside who are chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." It was already on TV.
Trump was told about it.
Yep, Hutchinson testified that when Trump heard, he said Mike deserves it. And then 10 minutes after that, that's when Trump tweets that Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done. Yeah, 10 minutes after that. Yeah.
My big thing though with this entire conversation about January 6th and the conversations about is it an insurrection, is it a coup, anything like that, it seems like people get so lost in the sauce of what is an insurrection.
No.
They
don't.
Whether it's
they
good
don't.
faith or not.
Yeah, they don't.
Oh, well, I don't think it's
an
good faith.
It's an infinite cope. They would if this was BLM, it would instantly be. Actually,
and they did.
I don't need to
have the thread.
Yeah, and I don't need to prove it. Yeah, one, he's got the thread, and two, Ben Shapiro the next day literally said this was technically an insurrection. He literally says it on his program. You don't need, like, all of this is so obvious.
Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch also said it immediately after. He's crazy. He was calling BLM insurrections the entire time. So yes, it's only, and all the news media, there's like big letters, insurrection. Sorry, I'll let you go.
Yeah. Or on the conservatives covering it, right? Ashley Babbitt is the first death of the Second American Revolution, 1776. Like, people are saying these things, like, everybody knows what it is, right? Yeah,
I just think referring to it as an insurrection is losing the oomph of what it actually was. It was a coup. It wasn't just an insurrection.
I usually describe it as an insurrection that was going alongside a coup. But when people get mad at, like, fighting over particularly, and I've thought about this, like, it's like, oh, why don't you start with this or why don't you start with that? It seems like if I start with one thing, that I should start with another thing. But it's just because it's anything. If you start with one other thing, they'll be like, well, what about this or what about that? Like, it's always going to be, like, oh, like, how many people when we've done the elector shit, we're like, well, how many faithless electors were there under Hillary, right? Most of those faithless electors, by the way, I think were Republicans. So it's not even like a good, just like the shooter, by the way, during Trump's assassination attempt. Like, it's just stupid. It's all. I
don't disagree with you on any of that. I just think we're losing by just trying to get lost on the insurrection stuff. You're just getting lost on what was the actual plan. It was a coup. It was an attempt to take over the government by unlawful means.
Yeah, just be careful there, because just like the term insurrection has a lot of historical weight to it and cases.
So
and
does
stuff.
coup. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually wouldn't consider this a regular coup. It was an attempted auto-coup. Auto-golpe is the term used in the coup literature, and that's a self-coup. You could describe the January 6th rioters themselves as trying to have a dissident coup, but what the rioters, insurrectionists, what they were doing isn't a traditional coup, because that usually the coup comes from within, right? It's the state, or members
usually
of
the military,
state, members of the government, military.
Well, that's a hard one though. Would it be considered a self-coup? Because he wasn't coupping himself. He was trying to coup the presidency switching to Pence, right?
Well, he was trying to coup the government that he is in charge of at the time. So
but to prevent the transfer of power to the next government, right?
Right. Essentially, he's taking control of shutting down the Congress in a fashion.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's the kind of traditional kind of self-coup where the head of the government is trying to stay in power, is trying to, like, let's say that there's a upcoming impeachment vote, right? And the head of some Latin American country announces, I'm dissolving Congress. That could be considered kind of a self-coup, even though he's still in charge, even though he's just closing Congress. It's a way to stay in power. So yeah, I would describe it as
I would suggest just comparing it to Napoleon's coup. So Napoleon had a coup in I forget the date. I think it's 1840 or something, or no, 1799, I think it was, that's where he ended the French Directory, which was their democracy at the time, and coronated himself as emperor.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the easiest historical comparison you could make.
Yeah. I would be specific though. I'm a head out in a sec, but I just wanted to say I would use the term attempted self coup. I don't have a problem with people using coup, because when asked, I would just defer to the self coup. I think that's an important distinction though, in the literature. Otherwise, you're going to find a bunch of people, academics saying it wasn't a coup, it wasn't a coup, it wasn't a coup. because they're using a particular definition of coup that wouldn't include.
Well, it's the
Well,
same
but
problem with
none of
Israel
them are going to say,
Palestine. It's going to be pseudo academics.
and none of those people are going to be like, well, hold on, bro, it wasn't a coup, it was a self coup. They're just going to use that to keep dodging, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But if I'm gonna like point to the legal definition of insurrection and like the experts when it comes to what is an insurrection, I think it's fair to do the same for coup.
Sure. Real quick, Arden, did you have anything else for us?
Nope, that was it. Thanks for hearing me out. Great talking to you guys.
Have fun. Be careful. Don't
Later,
die,
man.
buddy.
Will do.
Kind of spooky
up?
to see all of the. I don't know how popular it's going to get or how far the winds will carry it, but we're doing the Nazi shit is becoming a little bit more mainstream.
Yeah,
The rewriting of World War II.
Oh, dude, it's so this guy Martyr Made. Have you heard of him? Because he did a Israel Palestine podcast that was considered by some to be like well received. It's called Fear and Loathing in New Jerusalem.
Okay.
And that guy was the guy that was invited onto Tucker Carlson and did this all this revisionist history on Churchill was really responsible for World War II. It's sick. It's disgusting.
Yeah. That was a popular Nazi talk about like five or 10 years ago. I'm surprised. I guess Candace Owens is helping to like It wouldn't surprise me if she was compromised. She is like lockstep also with
By who?
foreign
By
propaganda.
Rush?
Yeah, or something. Yeah, Russia probably. Yeah, because her talking points are just they're so lockstep, and her life is just fucking weird. Like you've seen like the story with her husband and everything.
No.
Oh, I think they met and they got engaged in like 17 days, and like it's just everything is weird about her life.
That sounds like a Steven move.
No, well, like really, but she's like Christian and like believes in marriage and all that. Not like I just want to live with this person.
Hey. Sorry. Wait. So you think that she is you don't think she's a Nazi? You think she's compromised by foreign powers?
Yeah, I think she serves somebody else's interest. 1,000,000,000,000%. She's got some weird shit going on. She has one of the weirder lives. What?
Look to your left. Look to your right. Everyone's a Russian agent. I'm constantly like befuddled by how I like peek under a rock and there's Russia. I look to it's everywhere. I feel like Joseph McCarthy.
Yeah. I think the issue is that like after the first impeachment, Republicans' brains the Republicans are supposed to be the ones that guard us against conspiracies, especially foreign ones, right? Like Republicans were the ones that were hyped up on the Cold War shit. I remember because my mom talked to me about it all the fucking time. They are the ones that are conspiratorial as fuck. But now because of the Mueller shit, now they have like a blind eye to everything relating to Russia, and the left like can't talk about it anymore because of the impeachment. And so now we're just like totally unguarded. And we have this issue now. I wonder if this is unique in American history. You know how it used to be that even if we were fighting each other, we would all like shit on Europeans? Like, okay, listen, yeah you might be serving me. What?
That was you.
What was me?
You were shitting on your. Oh well, no, sorry, French Canadians. Go ahead, sorry.
True. Well, also fuck them. Yeah. Now it feels like you have people in the United States that would legitimately side with like Russians before
Americans.
Yeah, like the guy that got killed, Corey, the iPhone recorder guy at the Trump rally. Like one of his tweets was literally, like who would you say?
I'm taking out the gloves.
One of his tweets was literally the four people. I think it was like Obama, Hillary, and Kamala or something, and then like Putin, and he was like, you can only save one who, and he's like Putin.
My brother, that's a tweet you would write. You would write something like that.
For
100%,
in
you
what
would.
Context?
You'd be like, there'd be like a picture of Hitler, and then a picture of, I don't know, who's someone you hate, Surf's TV, and you have 3 bullets or something, and you would use them all against the Surf's TV. That's like something you would put.
Yeah, but I don't think I would be serious.
You don't know if he was here. You didn't know this guy.
He was at a Trump rally with a MAGA hat, and he tweeted out this type of shit constantly, and he was an ardent Trump supporter. Yeah, probably. I think it's okay to assume here. Doesn't mean he should die. Not good for people to die, but enough to lose sympathy for it.
I like that. The sympathy part, here's what I'll say. When there's a particular bad person that dies in the news, do you ever feel happy that they're dead?
No, and I usually tell people, like, we shouldn't celebrate. I think I did it with Rush Limbaugh and...
So you wouldn't be happy if, like, Trump got a heart attack and died? That wouldn't make you happy?
It's getting harder. Or maybe we passed that line. I would have to think about it. Because then obviously it would be like, okay, what if Hitler got a heart attack and died? I'm not sure. Like, if I feel like Trump is legitimately like a threat to the country or a threat to the democratic order, it's getting harder. I'm not sure. Or I might already be past that line. I have to stop and think about it, yeah.
I think that why I took such a strong line against wanting these people dead isn't because I can't imagine a situation in which one would be like pleased that someone is dead. It's just we don't want them to die like that, right? If you want anyone to die, not that I want anyone to die, but if you were to say be hoping that someone be dead, it wouldn't be through these means, right? And so when I ask you, do you want Trump dead, in the sense of do you want him to be dead, and you say I don't know, it's hard. I'm not sure if that's true. I think I sense that you would be happy if you found out he was dead.
Well, it's a matter of like, it's not a good world where you want political opponents to be dead, right? Something is like breaking a lot there, right?
Yeah.
Like you're in a very bad, especially, I mean, in a democracy, of course. If it was an authoritarian.
Let's zoom out. If you found out that Putin had a heart attack and he died, would you be happy, sad, or indifferent?
At the very least, I'd be relieved, maybe happy, yeah. But and if there was any like unhappiness, it would just be because of pragmatic concerns, like oh no, there's going to be chaos, not like oh no, like he wasn't overturned legitimately, I guess, yeah.
But I think I don't think you'd be happy if you found out that like America assassinated him on purpose with a gun. I don't think that would make you happy because you'd be worried and you wouldn't want to encourage that, and you'd be worried about the blowback, that kind of thing. And I don't know, maybe you think it's illegitimate for America to be
assassinating world leaders. Yeah, probably not. That's not good. That'd be really bad.
Right. So I think that you need to separate out wanting, being okay with or happy with or not caring about individuals being dead and the manner in which they do it. And I think that you kind of are starting to appreciate why that was maybe lost in your initial communications, because you're saying it's not good to wish for the death of political rivals. I think that that's the kind of attitude that you should take, even if it's true.
Sure. I mean, I've always had that attitude. I didn't even, as much as I wanted to when Coach Red Pill died on that day, I wanted to tweet out a lot of shit. I don't know if I tweeted out anything, or if I did, I might have just tweeted out, like, I hope there's an investigation done, because obviously, despite the fact that I hated this guy, it's an American citizen.
Did you wish cancer on Vosh? I'm going to call bullshit. On his ear.
Wait, are you memeing or?
No, I'm being real.
I don't think I legitimately, when I say get cancer and die, I don't think I'm legitimately like, oh, this guy, in stage 4 melanoma, he's in chemo. I'm so happy now, right? I don't think that's the same type of thing, right? Yeah. Like when I tell somebody to kill themselves, I generally don't actually want them to kill themselves, right?
So you say it you say it like you do.
Good.
If you did, it would be hard to distinguish you wanting someone to die versus you being facetious.
Maybe. But I mean, that's my demeanor. I think I say it enough when people listen on the stream, like, I hope this motherfucker die. Fuck this guy. I don't know.
So you're not serious when you say that stuff?
No, when I'm like, I hope Vosh gets cancer and dies. Fuck this guy. Yeah, I don't think I don't think I'm serious. No, I don't think there's any American citizen that I would want to die without due process or whatever. Yeah.
Even just getting cancer? I mean, there's no due process to cancer.
No, I don't think so. No, that's horrible.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. But I also think that there are certain Americans who, if that happened to them, I think that you would make a tweet like what you did with the Corey guy.
I feel like if I was going to do that, somebody can find the tweets I made the day Coach Red Pill got killed or died or whatever the fuck. I don't think I generally have. I think that was the most upset I think I've ever been, is watching conservatives react to that.
You were upset that people were upset that Coach Red Pill died? Wouldn't you be upset?
No. I was upset about the response to the Corey whatever stuff.
Oh, yeah. Got it. Because I actually think that it's bad that Coach Red Pill died, right? Like, that's bad.
I mean, assuming, yeah. I mean, if he died, like, there should have been a full investigation. Like, the circumstances are bad. You got arrested in another country. You're an American citizen. You died. Yeah, of course. But if he got like sick or pneumonia and he died or whatever, I mean, that's bad. Yeah, but it's not like that's a different type of thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So you would be in favor of like a full investigation. You think it's a little sketch?
There should always be a full investigation when an American citizen dies in prison in another country. Of course, that's insane. That's never an acceptable good thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah. Based.